The house with no entrances. Quiet, impenetrable, and unsettling in its silence. The perfect visual threshold before we enter the story itself. There are places that defy architecture. This house is one of them. It stands in the middle of an ordinary street, among buildings with windows and doors, chimneys and attics, yet it has no entrance, no door, no gate, not even a broken panel in the wall. Just blank surfaces, as if the house were built not to contain space, but to hide it. Some say it was once a monastery, others a prison. A few believe it was never built at all, that it simply appeared one morning, already old, like a thought that no one admitted having. Children throw stones at it, but none strike its walls. Cats disappear behind it, but do not return. And once, only once, a traveler claimed he had lived inside it. He said it was bigger than the town. He said, "There are voices in the hallways, and none of them are yours." The town does not speak of him anymore. Some believe the house is empty. Others fear that it's not. But everyone agrees on one thing. The moment you try to imagine what's inside, you begin to forget something. Your name, your destination, or the reason you were standing there at all. Quiet, impenetrable, and unsettling in its silence. A threshold not of stone, but of thought. The moment you step too close to understanding it, you step away from yourself. It had no door, no latch, no knocker, no path leading toward it. It stood like a sealed bot in the middle of the town, entire, silent, and forgotten only when one looked away. The townspeople made detours around it, as if unconsciously obeying a law never written. Children were warned not to go near, though no one could recall why. And yet, no tale of disappearance, no accident, no crime was ever linked to it. It simply was. In winter, the snow never touched its walls. In spring, ivy climbed every building, but refused this one. Birds avoided its roof. Even the mailman, new to town, once tried to leave a leaflet beside it, and found it gone the next day, the street blank and unfamiliar. A man named K once arrived, uninvited and without luggage. He stood before the house for 3 days and nights, unmoving. On the 4th morning, the baker found K's coat folded neatly on the ground. A note was pinned to the collar. It read, "There is an inside, but I cannot say where. I was not admitted, and yet I no longer wait. The space it contains is wider than my past. I forgot the names of the people I loved, and then I remembered something older than love. Do not search for me. You were never outside." Since then, no one has approached the house, not out of fear, but because they suspect they already live inside. One evening, long after the note was found, the baker's son passed the house and saw something impossible, a candle. Faint and flickering, behind what should have been a solid wall. He told no one, but from then on, he walked faster past the house, his heart tight in his chest. Later, the doctor's daughter swore she heard knocking, not from outside, but from within. Tried to count the knocks, but after the 3rd, she lost track of numbers altogether. She could not remember how many there were, nor how long she had stood there. I was not admitted, and yet I no longer wait to the house. The space it contains is wider than my past. I forgot the names of the people I loved. From then on, he walked faster past the house, his heart tight in his chest. Later, the doctor's daughter swore she heard knocking, not from outside, but from within. She tried to count the knocks, but after the 3rd, she lost track of numbers altogether. She could not remember how many there were, nor how long she had stood there. Now that we have finished every note, it seems fantastic. A woman visiting the town for a single night was overheard asking for directions to the house, but no one could recall giving them. The next morning, her room was empty, the sheets undisturbed. Her name was erased from the guest book, as if she had never arrived. The town archivist once attempted to sketch the house from memory. When he looked at the finished drawing, he saw something he had not drawn: an open door, slightly ajar. He burned the paper that night, but later swore he still saw the door in dreams he could not wake from. And still, the house stands, blank, silent. But if you stand too long in its shadow, you may feel it, a shift, like something turning its attention to you, a sense not of being watched, but of being remembered. And then, you will forget what you were thinking. You will forget why you stopped. You will forget where you were going. And slowly, without a sound, you will continue on your way, as if you had never stopped at all.